Hey, hey. Really the only thing that gon' be normal is distribution. Normal folks gon' infuse some. Optimize your lineups and you feed the rest, you mute them. Turning it up, these numbers are loud. Peeping this game from a nimbus is wild. Making it rain. While I embrace all this risk, I'm insane. Talking about that best bill, I'm the best till into the next world. Guess I got next still. Best bill, I'm the best rest till into the next world. Guess I got next still.
Hey, welcome in, guys. It's Bradley Stalder. Tonight we're going to be talking through some stardom sit-ems for week 3. My voice is a little raspy. That's just what happens over a long week. It's been great. Football has been great. I can't like it was what 3-4 weeks ago when we were just clamoring for please football, come here. And then now look at us. We are starting week 3. We had a very good game between the 49ers and the New York Giants. It was a lot of fun, a lot of greatness, a lot of Deebo Samuel fantasy points, just like I said. I said don't get cute. Deebo Samuel, easy play, easy start. You know, with Brandon Ayuk out, it made sense. It was an easy play. And we knew Deebo had already been commanding a massive target share. He had like 8 or 9 targets in the first half. He had a ridiculous amount of targets. And I think the only thing that I really got wrong in this game was I thought Brock Purdy would be like a low-end or a high-end quarterback too. He ends up being probably in that mid to low-end quarterback 1 because he was able to throw for a couple more touchdowns. Deebo had the long score. He had a lot of big throws. Purdy, in fact, had a very beautiful touchdown throw to Deebo Samuel. But Deebo was crushing in this game. And when the game plan is focused around Deebo Samuel, the good and bad happens. The good is that Deebo can make awesome plays. We saw, him turn a 20-yard play into a 40-yard play, and he can make spectacular catches. The bad is that evidently Deebo Samuel now has bruised ribs. They're not fractured, but they are bruised. And so we're a little concerned about, Deebo Samuel, just a little concerned. I think he'll be fine, but certainly something worth monitoring with the Deebo Samuel news. So hopefully you guys started Deebo Samuel. I told you to start George Kittle over Darren Waller. That worked out pretty well. And I was fading Daniel Jones. I had Daniel Jones as a quarterback 20 for this week. And he did not play particularly well. And I also faded Matt Breida. That was pretty smart in half PPR leagues. Breida only had 18 total yards in this game, in the Thursday night game. Plus, he had the touchdown. So we're talking, 7.8 points plus, he had 3 catches. So we're talking less than 10 fantasy points. I had Breida pretty low, I think at running back 38 or so. And so falling into the end zone kind of kept him at about that spot, but it was pretty ugly for Matt Breida. Nevertheless, I felt like I hit on a lot of those. Darren Waller, disappointed. I did have Waller at like tight end 5, but behind Kittle. So you should have started Kittle, just like I said, over Darren Waller if you're deciding between either of them. Okay, Elias in the chat. How's it going, brother? Hope all is well. Yeah. If you guys have started some questions, put them in the chat. We're going to discuss them. We're going to crush this week. We're going to get week 3 in the bag, especially if you guys started 0-2 or you need some rejuvenation in 1-1. Let's get into it because I want to touch on these stardom sit-ems for week 3. But before we do that, Elias, can I just take a second? I see y'all starting to fill the chat. This is awesome. I'm going to get to the chat. If y'all have not spent some time with me, y'all know I get to your questions. So especially in these stardom sit-em episodes, I will get to them. But I want to take a moment, and this is great. I love getting bullied on the internet because it teaches me humility, and it teaches me that like what I say like is getting seen, but also that like what other people think about it like doesn't matter. And so can I just share something with y'all before I answer your questions? I just want to share something, and I'm not going to hide from it because y'all can see what is on my Twitter. Y'all can go to Twitter at FF Stalder. And I want to share just this tab with you. Okay. So I don't know if y'all can see this, but I did a video for Player Profiler, and it was on week winning stats that you need to know heading into week 3. So of course I'm going to talk about the Ravens, during this. I'm very high on the Ravens passing game against the Indianapolis Colts. Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. I talk about that and more in this video. And Player Profiler tweeted it out. A shout out to Player Profiler because they're the best in the biz. But I tweeted this and I said, hopefully the hurricane heading towards Baltimore won't derail my prediction that the Ravens are going to stomp the Colts, and it's going to be beautiful for fantasy for Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. But the internet is a pretty wild place. Dr. Binky the doormat commented, bro, sorry, but you should seriously consider some salads. And you know what? Maybe I should, but it's wild. So there you go. I guess I need to consider some salads according to Dr. Blinky the doormat on Twitter. So there's just some hilarious stuff. Evidently my shaved or unshaven chin is giving off some double chin vibes, whatever. It's teaching me humility. That's what it's about. And, it's fine. Like, whatever. If people are going to try to be bullies on the internet, it's Twitter. It's fun, whatever. Anyways. So yeah. And here's the thing too. If you're going to come at me, like, come at my takes. Like, if you're going to make fun of me, at least I know that there was nothing else you could say to me except, oh, I needed to tell him to eat some salads. Yeah. So nevertheless, just wanted to share that with y'all, a little bit of comedy before we get into it tonight. So let me stop the shared screen, and we'll talk through some of your start sets. So I appreciate all y'all and your support. This has been a lot of fun doing the Best Bell. When I'm not doing the Player Profiler stuff, Player Profiler is putting out some awesome content, you guys. I'm doing the Thursday night tailgates. Billy and Theo Greminger, of course, Matt Kelly there as well. They're crushing the game. They're absolute studs over at Player Profiler. So want to give them absolute props. They've brought me on as an analyst, and I've been contributing. I do an article every week. I do a first-person video every week. Every other week, I do a best ball show called Stack Hunters, which is really great. You should check that out on the YouTube. And then also, wow, my voice is like really like going in and out, but I appreciate y'all. The other is on Thursday nights. I do a Thursday night tailgate, which is why I don't, usually hop on Thursday nights here during the season. So, but Friday nights, we're here. We're here to talk some stardom sit-ems. And for those who aren't as familiar, here we are. We're going to answer your start sit-em questions, do the best I can, give you my rankings. And for those who are like, who is this guy? What type of rankings can you give? Well, I do a lot of updates throughout the week. My Thursday, the rankings were pretty accurate. I nailed Daniel Jones. I nailed Christian McCaffrey. Deebo Samuel, I had as a top 3 wide receiver for the week. And he absolutely crushed. I don't know if he'll necessarily get top 3, but he'll get like top 5, top 6 probably for this week with his performance. And it could have been even better if Brock Purdy was a little bit more accurate in the first half. But, Deebo crushed in this game. So I was in on Deebo, in on Kittle. It worked out really well. Down on Daniel Jones, down on Matt Breida. Things turned out pretty well on the ranking side of it. So who is this guy? Well, last week I was number 2 out of 213 in tight end rankings. I finished, I think, 47th in the top 50 of Fantasy Pros rankers this past week. So out of 213. So like about 75th percentile. That's not bad. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to ranking players and talking through discerning start sits. We'll get things right, we'll get things wrong, but we're going to go through this process together and answer your starts and questions. So I appreciate y'all just filling the chat, putting it in, and getting after it, right? So there we go. Yeah, I love Mise. We'll kick it off. Rachaad White or Joshua Kelly this week. So here's the thing about Rachaad White. Rachaad White isn't good. But this is why you need to sell Rachaad White. Because Rachaad White, okay, in week number 1 was very bad. Week number 1, he was terrible. Yeah, it was really bad. Let me pull up the Rachaad White stats. So we're going to go regular season. Boom. Rachaad White in week number 1 against Minnesota. 17 carries, 39 yards, 1.9 yards after contact per attempt, 1 missed tackle force, 1 on 17 carries. It's really bad. His longest rush in that game was 6 yards. 6 yards. So take that away. That would be 16 carries for 33 yards. That's about 2 yards per carry clip against Minnesota. And like they're playing mostly the pass, or not very good at playing the pass. So you'd think that they'd be good at stopping a little bit, but a 71 rush grade is respectable. Let's just give credit where credit's due. Rachaad White 71 is respectable, not great. But then he faces Chicago in week 2, and that's where the fantasy analysts who have been trumpeting Rachaad White, saying Rachaad White is the truth. Rachaad White is going to get the volume. Rachaad White is the answer to our fantasy high-end running back 2. He is not. But this is why we want to sell Rachaad White. Week 2 against Chicago, Rachaad White 17 carries, still only 73 yards. His longest run was a 13-yard run. Not amazing either. So take that away. We're talking 16 carries for 60 yards, less than 4 yards a carry. He had a touchdown in that game, which buoyed his fantasy score. 6 missed tackles force, 13, as I said, longest rush, 3.29 yards after contact per attempt for Rachaad White. Why does this matter? Because in the context of Aaron Jones week 1 versus Chicago versus Rachaad White week 2 versus Chicago, Aaron Jones was the number 1 running back in week number 1. And he played a little bit more than a half after he messed up his hamstring. He was their number 1 running back, not playing the whole game. And Rachaad White, 17 for 73 with the touchdown. He did have 5 catches for 30 yards. But that's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done. Rachaad White is better. Like right now, he's been playing better than Sean Tucker. So we're going to have to put the brakes on the Sean Tucker train for right now. But this is why you want to sell high on Rachaad White, because he just faced one of the worst defenses. I mean, Chicago doesn't even have defensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator resigned this week due to taking care of personal issues. And there was a whole controversy about that. I don't know if you guys recognize that on Twitter, but Rachaad White facing against a Chicago defense that was just atrocious, and it has been bad and probably will continue to be bad, which is why if Pacheco is full go, you're starting Pacheco. But if Pacheco's out, because I think Pacheco is questionable for this game, you're probably firing up in deeper leagues Clyde Edwards-Helaire as an interesting speculative flex addition. But the reason why you're selling Rachaad White is because he's not good, and he's coming off a performance where the believers are validated against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. So yes, Rachaad White is not very good. And then we're saying, okay, it's Josh Kelly versus Minnesota. Well, Minnesota held Rachaad White to 17 carries for 39 yards, 2.3 yards per attempt. Kelly, on the other hand, Joshua Kelly right now is, he played Miami, which was terrible in week 1, 16 for 91, 5.7 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 78 rush grade. Then Tennessee, really, really tough against the run. Now we're getting Minnesota. We've seen the floor for Joshua Kelly, and it is scary. So I think we do still go with Rachaad White, because this over-under in this game is significantly higher. The Chargers versus the Minnesota Vikings. Remember, this game is in Minnesota. Okay, let me refresh the lines because I don't know. They might have even taken it off. Yeah, it's over-unders 54 for that game. Minnesota versus the Chargers. And if we're thinking who's going to be involved in this game, who's going to be scoring lots of fantasy points, like could Joshua Kelly be the answer? Yeah, he might get some goal line work. We've obviously got the higher upside, but in the Tampa Bay game, the Monday night game against Philly, the over-under is significantly lower. Tampa Bay is playing at home, which is a good thing, but they're not favored. Philadelphia is favored by 5 at home. Tampa Bay is at home. And so on the road, Philadelphia is favored. Over-under is 46. And while Tampa Bay has played pretty admirably with Baker Mayfield, Joshua Kelly probably has the goal line work. Rachaad White, I think, is going to get more of the volume. I think we're going to go with the volume play, the pass-catching volume play with Rachaad White. So even though Rachaad White is bad, it's going to be probably a better start than Joshua Kelly. So my lean is probably 55-45 in terms of Rachaad White. So if I'm giving the lean, it's there we go, Rachaad White there. Okay. Even though Joshua Kelly, can fall in the end zone, like their bell curves are pretty similar, but I think that Rachaad White's passing volume gets him just a little bit more of what we want in this. And I'm assuming it's full PPR, so we're going to go with Rachaad White. I don't know who's okay. Elias says I don't know who to start. I need 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. You got Brees, you got Kelly, you got Pacheco, you got Puka, McLaurin, Michael Thomas, Godwin. Yeah, I'm sure about Puka. The rest is up in the air. We're monitoring Pacheco. If Pacheco's full go, we want to play Pacheco against the Chicago Bears. As I said, the Bears are one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They are patched together defensively. The defensive coordinator, as I said, resigned this past week amidst some controversy. The over-under for this game is 48, so we expect it to be a nice little, shootout game. Maybe like a 30-18 type of projection is what we're thinking. So that means Pacheco's probably going to be pretty involved in the running game between the tackles. And as I said, Aaron Jones, in a little more than a half, put up running back 1 overall numbers for the week. So there we go. Let's see. Josh Kelly, is going to be fine. I think Breece Hall, we saw the bust game, but I'm still tantalized by his upside. Like, I know we were scared away, but it may have been Dallas. It may have been some coaching mess ups, whatever it may be. I'm still in favor of starting Breece Hall. So I like Hall and Pacheco. You've got to start 2 running backs. So it's going to be Breece Hall and Pacheco, I think, are my leans. I don't think I have it in me to start Josh Kelly over Breece Hall, even though Breece had the week 2 bust game. And then we are starting Puka, as you mentioned. McLaurin is going to get the Tre'Davious White treatment at home. Washington is 6.5-point underdogs in this game. So they're probably going to have to be playing catch up, but this is also a game that's not very high over under, only 43 for the game. So not a strong game environment. I'm not expecting a spike week for Terry McLaurin in this game. So if we're picking, I'm going to go Breece Hall, Isaiah Pacheco, assuming that Pacheco is healthy, ready to go. He's officially questionable for this game. And then at wide receiver, we're going Puka. Michael Thomas is a safe floor type of wide receiver. And then we're going Chris Godwin as well. Okay. Ali Boss God, start 2. Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, Puka Nacua. We're going to go Amari Cooper and Puka Nacua. Jerry Jeudy needs to show it for us. He had a mediocre week 2 after not playing week 1. And right now, we need to see him ramp up. I need to see it before I believe it with Jerry Jeudy. And I'd rather just be 1 week late. And if we miss on 1 week of Jerry Jeudy, so be it. But Amari Cooper was dealing with an ankle injury, or it wasn't an ankle. It was a groin injury. He re-aggravated the groin in a couple days before the Monday night game, and still went out there, played, gutted it through. And Amari Cooper had 90 yards receiving. So he'll get his. So you're starting Amari Cooper, you're starting Puka Nacua. All right, it's Steph Honey. We're looking forward to talking about who to start in the flex for sure. We're going to talk about, would you trade Godwin, Deontay Johnson, and Robert Woods for Jamar Chase? Yes, you would. Yes, you would. I know better days are ahead for the Bengals. I don't know if it's going to be necessarily this week. I would guess it's 50-50 for the Bengals, who play on Monday night against the LA Rams in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow did aggravate that calf injury, and it's clear he's not right. And we'll see who the Bengals trot out there at quarterback. But DraftKings Sportsbook has the over-under for this game at only 43.5, which is an indication that the sportsbooks don't believe that Joe Burrow is going to be available for this game. And it's only week 3, so you're still in it, even if you're 0-2. Like, I started 0-7 in one league, won the rest of my games the rest of the way, and ended up winning the championship in that league. So, it's okay if you lose to start the season. Just don't give up. Grind the waivers, do what you need to do. But you want to start packaging yourself with some upside plays like Jamar Chase, who can win you weeks. Like Chris Godwin probably isn't going to give you week winning points. Deontay Johnson, probably not week winning elite upside. And Robert Woods is maybe he'll get you 12, 13 points at best. So, yes, this is what you're doing right now. You're accumulating absolute spike week type of players like Jamar Chase. So, for sure. Yes, easily the Chase side. Easily the Chase side for sure. Sup, Dad, DeAndre Swift season. Let's go, DeAndre Swift. Why would he say that? That's referring to the mean trolls on Twitter who say that I need to eat some salads. I tried eating some salads. And I don't know. It's whatever. I'm happy how I am right now. Obviously, when we're thinking about how we can just be better people, finding the ways to improve my health is one of the ways that, something that I'm thinking about. But ultimately, I just need to continue to go through my day and continue to work and function and do my best and make some choices that are healthy for me and good. So if we've got judgmental trolls on the internet, come at my fantasy takes if that's what you want to do. But nevertheless, we're here to answer your questions, do the best we can. Happy to help y'all do your best. Okay. If Waddle's out, Judy, Algier, Brees, or Josh Kelly at the flex. Yeah, so Waddle is seriously questionable for this game. He's dealing with, I can't remember if it's a ribs or concussion issue, but he's missed practice, very questionable for this game. If we're starting someone of these, it's going to be hard for me to bench Brees Hall. I'm a Brees believer, guys. He's an extremely talented running back. Wow, it's getting late for me. Extremely talented running back. If he did not tear his ACL, he would have been in the 101 of conversation for this year and up there with McCaffrey. That's how talented Brees Hall is. I mean, Brees Hall last year was in the games Zach Wilson played, averaged a 55% snap share and 19 fantasy points per game. So I'm not too worried about Brees Hall. I know it was a bust game. I know it hurts, but I think we just need to have short memories and move on. So Brees Hall is my play here. DeAndre Swift season, I got offered Keenan Allen, James Cook, JSN for getting Diggs and DK. Ooh, Keenan has top 3 upside, and James Cook with a great offense. Thoughts? RB1 is Swift. RB2 would be Mostert. You have Barkley. So you're trading away Keenan and James Cook and JSN to get Diggs and DK. Yeah, Swift is your running back 1. With Gainwell back, this is one where I'm interested to see how the coaching staff responds. It's going to be hard for fantasy analysts to give you good takes on the Philadelphia backfield, because in the first game, it's Kenny Gainwell, and the coaching staff is really in on Gainwell. And with good reason. Gainwell played pretty well. 14 touches. I believe he had like 70 yards. But then it's hard to ignore what DeAndre Swift did in week 2 in a primetime game. Yeah, for us to be able to trust DeAndre Swift is going to be a hard thing to do this week as well. But at least we know that the coaching staff has it in them to just ride DeAndre Swift. And if I was in charge of the Philadelphia Eagles, if I was the coach, heck, I would be running DeAndre Swift out there. But that's the fallacy of logical coaching, right? DeAndre Swift is going to get all the touches. DeAndre Swift is going to get all the targets. And I mean, I've said over the summer, if it was me, I would pick DeAndre Swift, and DeAndre Swift is better at rushing the ball than your Rashad Penny, the between the tackles running back, and better at receiving than Kenny Gainwell. So the problem is, I don't know if I agree with your assessment that Keenan Allen has top 3 upside, but I think Diggs does. I think DK does. And so with those running backs, I think it's worth it to upgrade Keenan Allen to Stephon Diggs and JSN to DK Metcalf. And giving up James Cook, giving your running backs. I mean, James Cook is going to be a running back 1, but I wonder if he's going to get eaten into too much by Latavius Murray like we had seen. Like Murray was working in the 2-minute drills, through the first 2 weeks. And Damian Harris vultured touchdown. So if James Cook can get some goal line work, we're talking like you'd lose that trade. But for right now, it's hard to trust that the Bills are going to be using James Cook in that role. So let's upgrade Diggs and DK. Barkley will be back soon enough, probably in 3 or 4 weeks. Swift and Mostert should be able to hold on for you. And if not, real talk, the least important starting position, especially in your redraft, is your running back 2. Especially in shallow leagues, because you'll just be grinding off the waiver wire for your running back 2. You'll get your Joshua Kellys, right? You'll get your Jerome Fords. So that's the idea, is that you'll just attack running back 2, and you'll have a plan in mind, and you'll have solid, really solid wide receivers. You'll have upgraded to Diggs and DK. So I'd be willing to do that one. Cool. It's Steph Honey. 14 team, half PPR. Who should we start? Hollywood, Kincaid, Roshan, Hubbard, Devontae Parker. Burrow. If he can't go, who should I drop? Stafford or Mayfield are on the wire. Yeah, you're going to want to, I think, get in on the Baker Mayfield. That game is going to be more of a shootout, and it's going to be relatively close. Like the Buccaneers are only 5-point dogs in this over under 46. Right. Looking at the rest of the games, Chicago, Kansas City is projected higher. The LA Chargers, Minnesota Vikings is projected for more game total. Miami, Denver, and then barely Detroit, Atlanta. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Philadelphia Eagles game, given that it's projected to be pretty close and projected to also be one of the higher scoring matchups. I think if Burrow can't go, you've got an easy pivot Monday, right, to find a replacement on the waiver wire. But with regard to the flex, I think it's very interesting to put in Roshan Johnson here. As I mentioned, the Chicago Bears Kansas City Chiefs game is the over-under is 48. And we're looking at like a 30-18 type of game. And if the Bears are expected to be down by almost 2 touchdowns in this game, we saw what happened when they get down significantly. They pulled away from Khalil Herbert and they leaned on Roschon Johnson. Roschon Johnson, like, he's played very well in the first 2 games. Roschon right now, among all running backs with at least 10 carries, he's running back 18 in PFF rush grade. Okay. And right now, Roschon, 9 attempts, 52 rushing yards. He has a touchdown through 2 games, 9 targets, 8 receptions, 45 yards, 1.5 yards per route run. Okay. And among running backs with at least 12 targets or at least 12 rushes, Roschon Johnson, actually, Roschon doesn't meet that qualifier. What did I say? 9 rushes. Just get the filter out here. Roschon Johnson is top 10 in yards per route run. So give me Roschon, who's probably going to be leaned on in this blowout game and is going to be getting you some garbage time points. So give me him. Whereas Hollywood, we're not certain about what kind of upside he can have in the Arizona offense, even if he gets a really nice target share. Kincaid, is playing a lot outside and in the slot. But we know the deal with rookies. Hubbard has a couple big plays. But we also know Carolina likes to lean on Miles Sanders, and Devontae Parker, I don't think he's the odd man out as well. So give me Roschon Johnson in mop-up time. Conrad Casente, running back 2 in half PPR. Are we going to start Madison? We're going to start Sanders. Or are we going to start Joshua Kelly? So, again, I'm not in on starting Joshua Kelly this week. Right, Miles Sanders, he's had a tough go of it. 32 rush attempts, 115 yards on the season, 3.6 yards per attempt. His PFF rush gauge is 53, 1.81 yards after contact per attempt. That's like Daniel Jones level of rushing in yards after contact per attempt. He has 1 missed tackle forced in 132 attempts, 115 yards. Not good. This is not good for Miles Sanders. And I know he had 4 and 5 targets, but this is also a game where Andy Dalton is going to play. So we're going to see if maybe Sanders does get a little bit more of the passing volume, but he's not been very efficient on the ground. And I'm not looking to start Sanders. None of these are great options. I don't want to start Kelly. I don't want to start Madison, but it's probably going to be one of those 2 guys, Madison or Kelly, in that Minnesota LA Chargers matchup on who's going to get the goal line work. And if I'm thinking who's going to be the one that's leaned on most around the goal line, probably Joshua Kelly. So I don't want to start Kelly, but he's probably the best of this really ugly, really ugly selections. So there you go. Okay, Jose, shout out to you, Jose. Appreciate you. James Conner or Jerome Ford at running back. Yeah, this is a pretty easy one because while Jerome Ford is the hot shiny new toy, he faces off against the Tennessee Titans. And the Titans just like locked down last week. They consistently lock down running backs. So if I'm picking between Conner, Arizona gets the Dallas Cowboys this week, you have to think that Arizona is going to lean very heavily on Conner in what is going to be a little bit more of a shootout. And Arizona is 12.5-point dogs at home. So this is also one of those key betting points. Like, there's a significantly high hit rate for betting the Arizona Cardinals plus 12.5 because they are double-digit home dogs. And those hit pretty often. There's a lot of data to suggest that. And so if it's going to be a lot closer game, they're going to be more competitive, especially because Dallas now loses at least they lost Diggs to the ACL injury. Arizona might have a little bit more movement on offense. So I don't know if 12.5 is going to necessarily be the line we want. But the over under 43, still give me Connor. Still give me Connor with how locked down Tennessee is against the running game, and Cleveland has been struggling on offense. So give me give me Connor. He's played very well, even with these backup or third string quarterbacks. All right, cool. Let's keep her moving. Thanks, y'all. If you like the content and you find this helpful, make sure you guys are smashing that subscribe button. Okay, appreciate all y'all doing that. We are approaching 1,600 on the YouTube. So if you are new and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. Appreciate y'all. James Cook, DeAndre Swift, Jordan Addison, Josh Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs, pick 3. Oh, full PPR. You've got a stacked team here, Jack. I love James Cook. I love Jordan Addison this week. The Vegas Raiders take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers are really bad against the run. So give me Josh Jacobs. Give me James Cook as a running back 1. And then give me Jordan Addison as surprise. And here's the reason why. Well, actually, there's a few reasons why you want to be starting Jordan Addison this week. Number 1, Jordan Addison has been more integrated into the offense over the first couple weeks. In fact, he's played in week 2 69% of the snaps, which is great, up from 58% in week number 1. Second reason is the Vikings are willing to use Jordan Addison in high leverage situations, either with deep balls or in the red zone. They've consistently done that through the first 2 weeks. He had 2 end zone targets in week 1. He had the big bomb in week 2, which ended up being like a 60-yard touchdown, which was beautiful. The third reason that we want to be going after Jordan Addison is game environment, right? This is the highest over under on the week. And the game environment is home for Minnesota, and Minnesota is 1-point favorites. So we like the home environment. We like the dome. We like the over-unders 54, the highest on the week. Another reason we want Jordan Addison is because the LA Chargers give up the most. Through the first 2 weeks, they've given up the most fantasy points to wide receivers over the course of the season. And we want pieces of that. Justin Jefferson's going to feast. Jordan Addison's going to feast. The last reason why we want to be in on Jordan Addison is because the Minnesota Vikings are throwing at an historic rate. I don't know if y'all know this, but the Vikings have a 78% pass rate. Like look up the pass rates. Go to teamrankings.com. Through the first 2 weeks, the Minnesota Vikings 77.97% team passing play percentage. If you look over the past 13 years, the highest we see of team passing play percentages is 68%. That's the highest. So Minnesota is only running the ball 23% of the time. 22% of the time, which means they're passing a lot more. They've got passing volume. We've got game environment. We've got improved role. We've got a great matchup. We've got, as I said, great game environment. It's at home in a dome, high scoring. We want Jordan Addison in our fantasy lineups for this week. So yes, Jack, let's get Jordan Addison, Josh Jacobs, and James Cook in your lineups. Not that I don't like Swift. Not that I don't like Gibbs. Swift, we're just expecting Kenny Gainwell back, and that could be an absolute smash for Swift. Like it almost looks like bimodal for Swift, because he could absolutely smash like we saw last week, or he could be an absolute zero like just 2 weeks ago. And I think that those are the two potential range of outcomes. I would be very surprised if it's a happy middle for DeAndre Swift. And even if it's a happy middle, we don't want that. We only want the smash week. So I think there's a higher percentage chance that DeAndre Swift busts this week. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, we do want Jahmyr Gibbs, but the problem is, does the coaching staff want to use Jahmyr Gibbs how us fantasy managers want them to use him? The answer is probably not. Probably not. Whereas we've seen Josh Jacobs get the volume. We've seen James Cook get the volume. And Jordan Addison is the spike week candidate for the week. So let's go. Let's go. Fire up your Jordan Addison. Whew. We got some great questions in the chat. We're going to keep her rolling here. Appreciate all y'all. If you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, smash the subscribe button. We have now eclipsed 1,600 subs. Appreciate all you making this amazing community. And I appreciate all y'all being so positive and supporting and answering each other's questions in the chat too. Like, feel free. And if you like the content, you find it helpful, I said subscribe, but you can also send some super chats. We've got different tiers for that as well to prioritize your start sit-em questions in the chat. And that way it can be brought to my attention. And I would love to, answer your questions. And if you wanted to make it a priority, you can use the super chats as well. Cool. So let's keep her moving. Henny said, I got offered Lockett for Mostert. Should I make this trade? I was also wondering if I should flex Godwin or Mostert this week. Yeah, so the way I see this is Lockett is going to be the more consistent play for you for the rest of the season. If it's a flex, I would go with Lockett. Mostert certainly has the big game potential. We're seeing Devon A-Chain potentially getting a lot more active in this game, especially with Salvin Ahmed expected to miss. So Tyler Lockett, I think, is your move. You can trade for Lockett. The other reason to consider this is the longer-term vision for Raheem Mostert. He's absolutely been crushing. But the problem with Raheem Mostert is he's 32. With a history of soft tissue issues. All it takes is one little hamstring pull and he's out for 7 weeks. And then you're done. And we've seen it happen before for Mostert. So with Lockett, he's the more consistent, more reliable play, less likely to be injured. And then if it's a question of who am I going to flex, Lockett or Mostert, or Lockett or Godwin, because we're assuming we're trading Mostert, we're going to go with Chris Godwin. That's going to be, once again, a game environment that I'm willing to pivot into is the Philly versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. I do want that. So Henny, 12 team, half PPR. Yeah, give me the Lockett and Godwin trade. Lockett for Mostert trade, and we're starting Godwin. Mega Brick. Oh, we got a defensive question in the books. Let me pull up my rankings on the Fantasy Pros so I can answer specifically, but I'm pretty sure that Dallas is pretty high this week regardless. Okay. And yeah, Dallas is number 1 for me against Arizona. I think that makes sense. Lots of turnovers, lots of pressure. I mean, Arizona is probably going to roll out Josh Dobbs again. So, yeah, we're definitely starting Dallas. But the defense, then Aubrey, it's at Arizona, so we're still talking a dome. And then Dak Prescott. Let me take a look at Dak. I haven't finalized his ranking yet, but I'll probably have Dak like 11th, 10th or 11th this week is my guess. Once the dust settles on the rest of the rankings, because I do a lot of updates between now and Sunday. It's just part of my process. You get news, you hear news, you do some more of the data analysis, etc. And I'm confident in Dak being about a top 12 quarterback for this week. So there we go. Good afternoon. It's almost 11 o'clock on the East Coast. Shout out to you, Reynaldo, though. Reynaldo Rincon. Need one wide receiver, one flex. Elijah Moore, JSN, Jalen Warren, Reynolds, Christian Watson. Dameon Pierce is on the waivers. Yeah, it's going to be hard to start Dameon Pierce. I'm sorry. Guys. It's hard to start Dameon Pierce. I don't know if we can do it for right now. But we're going to be looking to start Elijah Moore. He's getting the targets. The boom weeks will come with Elijah Moore. I know we've been suffering and I know we've been patient, but he's putting up efficiency and target metrics that look like he is a wide receiver too. And so I'm fine with that, given the other options that you have. And if Christian Watson is healthy, we're starting Christian Watson. Because the Packers are very conservative with how they handle their players. And as you know, Christian Watson got hurt at the beginning of last year. The Packers rolled him back out mid-year. He was healthy because they held him out. And then he absolutely crushed. And so if he is healthy, if he is out there for you, you need to be playing Christian Watson. Now, let's say Watson is out. Who do we pivot to? Probably going to be Reynolds. I don't feel great about it, but he's the one who I project to be getting the between the tackles carries for Detroit. Is not as confident of a take, but Jalen Warren has not been playing well to start the season, and Pittsburgh overall in the game environment hasn't been playing well. We want game environment. We want volume for Reynolds. And I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have, 25 touches in this game, 22 touches. So it's Josh Reynolds, not the Craig Reynolds. That's my bad. Josh Reynolds. Woo. I think if Craig Reynolds is available on your waivers, I think Craig Reynolds over Pierce even is the move here. So maybe you can consider that. But if it's Josh Reynolds, wow, that was my bad. I apologize, Ronaldo. You are starting Elijah Moore, Christian Watson. Are we finally going to get JSN in our lineups? I have JSN over Jalen Warren. Yeah. Let's go JSN if Christian Watson isn't able to go. Are we starting Khalil Herbert or Christian Kirk? Or is this a Justin Herbert, Kirk Cousins? I don't know. This is very open-ended. I mean, I can answer either. If it's Khalil Herbert or Christian Kirk, we're starting Christian Kirk. If it is Justin Herbert or Kirk Cousins, that's going to be very, very close. I think we're going to lean Justin Herbert, though. A little bit more mobility at this point. Henny's asking, is Justin Hill, I assume it's Justice Hill, for Baltimore, is he a drop? I have Jerome Ford and Javonte benched. Yeah, you can drop Justice Hill. He's injured right now. Don't know how long he's going to be out. Gus Edwards is high-end running back 3, low-end running back 2 consideration with no passing upside. There's no passing upside for Gus Edwards, which is why we limit his ceiling. But yes, you're starting either Jerome Ford or Javonte over Justice Hill because Justice Hill is out for this week. Awesome. Let's keep her moving here. Who would we start at the flex? 1 PPR between Zach Moss, Jerome Ford, or Jacoby Myers. Myers is coming back from that concussion, right? And I liked Myers this offseason. I thought he was going 3 or 4 rounds too late. Jacoby Myers gets Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has a pretty solid pass defense. We saw them play pretty tough against Elijah Moore, for instance, who kind of, Jacoby Myers is a little bit bigger than Elijah Moore, but plays on the inside, the outside. Myers, though, I think we need to have Myers in like half PPR and PPR leagues as a back end wide receiver 3 with a little bit more upside. Jerome Ford, I would start Jacoby Myers over Jerome Ford. And this week, remember, Indy gets Baltimore, and Baltimore's really, really tough on defense. So we're going to start Jacoby Myers, given that he is ready to roll from the concussion protocol. Remember, Jacoby Myers missed last week due to the concussion protocol. B. Silva. Start Daniel Jones, Cook, Ford, Tyreek. And then the next queue up, we've got a X-Heater Lifer. We're going to get you next, X-Heater Lifer. I see you. So let's get you after we get B. Silva. All right. Daniel Jones, Cook, Ford, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, Devontae, DJ, Hunter, Henry, Bench, Love, Hunt, Charb, E, Moore, Tank, Flowers. On the IR, Akers, Christian Watson, redraft, trade suggestions. Yeah, you're going to want to upgrade your quarterback position. Daniel Jones is too inconsistent. Same thing with Jordan Love. Cook is great. Ford will survive for you. I think your running back 2 is a little bit weak because you don't have another one that can really like get in line there. Tyreek Hill, Waddle are great. See if you can go out and get Tua. See if you can get Daniel Jones paired with Elijah Moore. See if that's enough to get Tua. Maybe it's not. But you want to be able to see if you can acquire Tua to stack with Tyreek Hill and Waddle. One of the most underrated things you can do in redraft is to stack. A lot of people are like, oh, stacking is only in best ball leagues. Stacking is what got my team out from, this was a few years ago when the Rams were the Rams. And I traded for, I think I had Todd Gurley and I picked up Jared Goff off of waivers. And I traded for Cooper Kupp and I traded for Robert Woods and Tyler Higbee. And I stacked the Rams, who were the best offense in the NFL at the time. And that's what you want to do, is you want to stack good offenses. So that's what I would do, is I would see if I can target Tua. All right, as promised, X-Heat Lifer, full PPR. His team is dead. Oh no, I'm so sorry. X-Heat Lifer. Start 2 of these players: Gus, Warren, Tony, Tank Dell, Brandon Cooks, or Samaje Perine. Thank you. Okay. So we're probably not going to start Tony. He's questionable. That's the concern, is that Tony's not going to play very much, and that's going to limit his upside. And especially given that the Chiefs are massive favorites, they're probably just going to run the dang ball. Like, why would they not just run the ball with Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, etc.? That will limit the touches of Tony. And this game is not projected to be the type of shootout that, Chicago is going to go back and forth with. So X-Heat Lifer, I don't think you're going to be wanting Tony for right now. I know he's a speculative ad, but we need to see that he's healthy. We need to see full practices. We need to see it from him production-wise. And right now, we're not there yet. We're not starting Jalen Warren either. I'm sorry. So Tony and Warren are off the board here. Gus Edwards is most likely a start for you. He's a running back, low-end running back 2, high-end running back 3, as I mentioned before. There's not a lot of receiving upside at all with Gus Edwards. He had no catches in the regular season last year. I think he had 1 in the playoffs, but no catches in the regular season last year. And Gus Edwards is a player that can get the touchdown equity that you want, especially with Justice Hill being out. He averages 4.5, 5 yards a carry no matter what. Just a consistent all-pro type of running back. He knows what he's doing. Veteran presence, and he's going to be someone that the Ravens will rely on. I know that the Ravens elevated Melvin Gordon to the 53-man roster, and they signed Kenyon Drake to the practice squad. Gus Edwards is going to be the guy who's handling a significant amount of work at the running back position, and we've seen him in this role before be mid-pack running back too. So I think he probably won't bust for you, but he's probably not going to be a 25-point ceiling type of game guy. But you're starting Gus Edwards, I think, out of these guys. I'm not going to start Samaje Perine either. Perine has not performed very well. Javonte is clearly playing way ahead of him. So we're not starting Perine. And then the question is, are we going to start Brandon Cooks or Tank Dell? And I think the answer is we're going to play Tank Dell. Tank Dell is playing on the outside, and he's winning on the outside, despite the fact that he's really small. Like, you call him Tank Dell, but he's tiny little nothing. And he is winning on the outside despite his size. That means he is so talented that it doesn't matter. So we're going to go with Tank Dell and Gus Edwards. X Heat Lifer X. Appreciate you jumping in the starred chat. Want to prioritize those auto star super chats. If you want to contribute as well, you want your chat prioritized, make sure you do that. You can do that pretty easily on the YouTube channel. I appreciate you jumping in, asking your questions. Thanks, X Heat Lifer. Let's get into it. Okay, cool beans. Let's see. Oh, you've got a couple more questions or a couple of other things for me. X Heat Lifer, another Heat fan. I love it. Let's see. Here's my team. FYI, that was my bench. He's got Mahomes, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, Judy, Tony, Dell. Yeah, yikes, Garrett Wilson. That really hurts you. I'm sorry. Same thing with DJ Moore. That's really hurting you. Bijan, Sanders, Gus, Warren, Perine. Kittle had a good game for you. That's excellent. You're starting Bijan. I think, heck, you might even start Gus Edwards over Sanders. And then, yeah, you could probably flex Tank Dell as well. Appreciate you, X Heat Lifer, for sure. Thanks for jumping in there. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I don't think that really shifts very much for me in how I assessed it. Cool. Henry or Ertz this week. We're going to go with Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's a dude. He is our dude. We're playing Hunter Henry. We are Team Hunter Henry. I've been Team Hunter Henry since the offseason, since Fantasy Pros expert consensus ranking put him at like tight end 27. Get that crap out of here. Tight end 27. Are you out of your minds? Are you out of your minds? Tight end 27? No. This preseason, I was ridiculed on the Player Profiler chat, on the Player Profiler YouTube channel. I was like, Hunter Henry, top 13 tight end. And people were like, no. What are you talking about, Bradley? That's wild. I don't believe it. What about Mike Gesicki? Aren't you afraid of Mike Gesicki? No, I'm not afraid of Mike Gesicki. You want to know why? Here's why. Mike Gesicki doesn't play the tight end position. He plays the wide receiver position as the tight end designation. He's not playing the same role as Hunter Henry. The player who was playing the same role as Hunter Henry left. And that was Jonnu Smith. So now Hunter Henry gets all that role to himself. Give me all the Hunter Henry. He's the most consistent New England Patriots player. And this was one of the reasons why you should be in your best ball leagues over the summer, rotating through not just late round tight ends, but just planning to go late round tight end, because players like Hunter Henry pop up. And when they pop up, they give you this almost an equivalent edge on the field as if you were to draft a Travis Kelce, because you are getting all of that Kelce equity in your early rounds from other positions. And then you are getting enough starting role from your Hunter Henrys, or maybe it was your late round Taysom Hill if he hits, or if Tyler Conklin hits. Those are the types of players that you want to just keep rotating through in the late rounds of your drafts. And we'll see who hits. And Hunter Henry is one who's hitting. So give me Hunter Henry, even though Zach Ertz is getting a lot of targets. Right? If you remember the first game, Zach Ertz got 10 targets in that first game. You can't really ignore, that many targets. But Zach Ertz, 8 more targets, still only 77 yards on 18 targets, 6.4 yards per reception, 58 receiving grade, a 27 pass block grade. He is not out there pass blocking. It's really, really bad. 1.4 yards per route run for Zach Ertz. Yeah, no, give me all the Hunter Henry. Chris Godwin or Amari Cooper. I think we're going to go with Chris Godwin here. Better game environment versus Philadelphia. Amari Cooper probably still dealing with that groin. We were happy with what Cooper did Monday night against Pittsburgh, but give me Chris Godwin. Mike Evans is crushing too, by the way, just for what it's worth. I mean, let's look at what Mike Evans has been doing, right? Yeah. Evans right now is 78 receiving grade, 19 yards per reception, 12 catches, 237 yards and 2 touchdowns on 17 targets. I mean, Godwin has 13 targets through 2 games. That's respectable. 6.5 targets per game. 71 receiving grade is nothing to scoff at. So I like Godwin for a bounce back spike week game here, Sean. You're also asking about Anthony Richardson and Burrow, both either expected to be limited or out. Do I drop my defense for a QB and take the 0 if Burrow doesn't play? It feels like you're in a shallow league based on what you're saying. So I'd rather not take the 0 for DST. I would just drop, and this is going to sound bad, I'd probably drop Cortland Sutton. I'd rather have, you pick up a quarterback, pick up the DST, drop Sutton. That's how I would navigate that. Okay. Olave or Mixon flex PPR. We're going to go with Olave. Olave's played very well for the first 2 games, right? We can't be upset with what Chris Olave has done. I was a little low on Chris Olave, not thinking that he would be able to, give us what we wanted, but he's averaged 99 yards per game. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet. His PFF receiving grade is 83.7. That's very respectable. His yards per route run, 2.79, is very good as well. 21 targets. We can't ignore that. So we're going with Chris Olave pretty easily here. Nathan Dew. Jordan Spiteri, Godwin or Nico Collins. And the reason why this is an interesting one is because Nico Collins is getting really bumped up, and there's a lot of Nico Collins truthers out there, and I'm not one of them. It's okay. It's okay. Like, life will be okay that I'm not a Nico Collins truther. It's just that he's a wide receiver 3 profiled type of player who is getting more targets and has a better quarterback this year. But he just faced off against one of the worst secondaries in the NFL in terms of giving up fantasy points. The Colts give up the 3rd most fantasy points to wide receiver tight end groups in the NFL because they're not very good. And we've seen spike weeks from Nico Collins. We've seen spike weeks from Calvin Ridley. And we should expect spike weeks this week from Zay Flowers and or Mark Andrews, as long as the weather holds out for the Baltimore Ravens. But this is why you're starting Chris Godwin. You believe in the talent. You believe in the offensive game environment. And you aren't believing in the mirage that is what was last week's spike week with Nico Collins, right? So let's go with Chris Godwin here. Ibrahim Yusuf, half PPR, start 2. Brian Robinson, Pickens, Rashad Dotson. Okay, we're starting Brian Robinson. How can we move away from him? Washington hasn't. You shouldn't either. And then George Pickens is who we're starting as well. With Deontay Johnson out, Pickens was an absolute beast, commanded double-digit targets, had a big breakaway play against the Browns for a long touchdown. He's got that dog in him, former second round pick, right? And I said that Pickens was going to have a big year this year because people were underestimating how much the ACL recovery was affecting him last year in his rookie year with a rookie quarterback and bad offensive line. There were a lot of factors, and now some of those factors, not all of them, but some of them have been relieved for George Pickens, and we're starting to see the real dog. So give me Brian Robinson and George Pickens. Sweet. Let's keep going. Christian Basulto, appreciate you jumping in. Full PPR, I need 3. 2 spots for running back, 1 for flex. Madison, Kelly, Hall, Javonte, Roschon, or Spears. Ooh, okay. This actually brings up an interesting question because Taze Spears is actually how it's pronounced. I went on Pro Football Reference because someone came on my comments, my YouTube comments, and say it's Tay or something like that, and I was like, "What?" He was like, "You got to pronounce it right. You look like an idiot." And I'm like, "I want to know how it's actually pronounced." So I went on Pro Football Reference, and it's Taze Spears with a Z, Tazi, even though it looks like it's supposed to be pronounced Ty J Spears. Tazi Spears. And if Derrick Henry misses this game against the Cleveland Browns, Henry, even he was not in the final injury report, but yeah, it looks like he returned to practice on Friday. Lots of people were reporting this. He had missed all these practices. Spears is interesting, but I don't think we're starting him. He is a must roster, though. Tazi Spears is a must roster. You need to check your waivers right now. Make sure he is not on your waiver wire. You need him on your roster. But if you're picking 2 running backs, I think we're going to go with Josh Kelly over Alexander Madison. And we're going with Breece Hall. Javonte, I don't know if we fully trust yet. So we're going to go with that. We're going to go also with Addison as your flex. Absolutely. We're starting Addison this week. This is a player I'm pounding the table for, Christian. So I did talk about Addison earlier in the live stream. So make sure y'all check that out because I went very much in depth. I gave like 5 or 6 reasons as to why Jordan Addison is the play this week. So go ahead, listen to that. We're here for Jordan Addison week 3, massive breakout game. Would I pick up Tazi Spears? Yes. He is a must roster. He is an absolute must roster. All right, let's take a look at a few other questions. Good evening, Go Jin. Appreciate you. Wow, we've got a lot more questions in the chat. Appreciate y'all jumping in. We're already 68 minutes. Appreciate you guys jumping in. A couple things I want to note before I keep going, and I will answer your questions, but I will prioritize for sure those that are starred. I'm sure we'll get at a point sometime when this channel gets big enough where y'all are going to have to like get into the starred chat to prioritize that. So, but for right now, we're just going to answer as many questions as we can, do our best that we can to answer them. But if you want to prioritize your chats, you can do that with the starred. I think there's $1.99 levels. There's $5 levels. So you can certainly do that. What else? The other thing is, of course, if you like the content and you find this helpful, make sure you guys are hitting that red subscribe button. We just eclipsed the 1,600 subscribers mark. So I appreciate all of you jumping in so far. This has been great. There we go. So Just Dre says, I'm offering Calvin Ridley and Gibbs for Bijan. Is that a respectable trade? Also, that's good to decline them in the same trade, but for Stephon Diggs. So giving up Gibbs. to upgrade to Bijan, and the differential is Ridley. It depends on who your wide receivers are. Based on who's on your team, Ridley and Diggs are on your team. You better be stacked at wide receiver to be able to do something like that, is what I'm saying. You got, it says it's a 12 team. You have CD and Puka, Kelsey, Addison, Tank Dell. Yeah. So I think with you not really have only starting one running back, yeah, I think you can upgrade that. Yeah, I think you'll be okay with CD for sure. CD and Puka, and Addison is going to be a nice play rest of season. Greater dart throw. Gainwell, Samaje, Marvin Mims versus Miami. Yeah, probably Gainwell is the best dart throw. Gainwell is the best dart throw. Better offense, good game script. We're not certain if they're going to lean on Gainwell or DeAndre Swift. I don't think they're going to just go with a 50-50 split. Like, I'd be surprised if they do that. I think they would just either revert back to Gainwell or they say, Swift, you're our guy. You crushed. So I would go with Gainwell. Samaje is very clearly playing behind Javonte, and Marvin Mims isn't getting the snaps we necessarily want. He had a nice spike week for sure, but a couple big plays and that's it. So give me Gainwell. Full PPR. Would you flex White, Hall, Flowers, or Pickens if Waddle is out? You know, I'm monitoring the weather. I would have Flowers over all of these. But if the weather is bad in Baltimore, we're going to go with George Pickens. That's how I would go with it. Okay, 12 team, very waiver wires thin. If I drop Sutton or Moss, people would probably drop a decent amount of fab. Interesting that Sutton is one of the worst plays, but the waiver wire is thin. Just interesting. I would like to see the rest of your team maybe later. Maybe you can DM me on Twitter and we can take it there, Sean. Or if you want individual advice, like to video stream with me and you want some one-on-one time, make sure that you can check out the link. I have it, what's called Did It. If you're not familiar with Did It, it's a great program. All you do is you download the app and you just video chat. You just video me. You just video me and you pay by the minute. And if you have any questions, you just ask them and I'll answer them the best I can. And we'll call it a day. So, and your first call with me is free. Did It is phenomenal. They're giving away, one first free call. And I have a 5.0 rating so far. We've been crushing it. People have been pretty regular. I've got regulars on the waiver wire who do that for Did It. So I appreciate all of it. Okay. Cool. I'm starting to lose it here. My voice is kind of going. So I'm going to go rapid fire here real quick. I appreciate all y'all sticking with me here. 73, 74 minutes in. Chances Bateman breaks out pretty low, even though Beckham is out for this game. Sorry, go Jen. Full PPR, should I start Rashad White or Kyron Williams? You're starting Kyron Williams, and are we starting Higgins or Pittman? We're starting Higgins. Unless Burrow is out. If Burrow is out, we're starting Pittman. Okay. Why is this not working? Come on. Okay, there we go. 10-man PPR, Fields, Eckler, James Cook. I don't know. Eckler is out. James Cook is good. Fields, meh. Okay, cool. I'm going to have to take a short break here. We will be right back. And it'll be about a couple-minute break. I will answer your questions, so don't go away. And we are back. Look at us. Look at us. We're here. We're back. We're ready to roll. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate y'all. I had to get a cough drop and some water. My throat, But I said I would answer all your questions, and I'm a man of my word, and that's what you can hold me to. So, Ty, 10-man PPR Fields, Eckler, Cook. Eckler is out for this game. So, James Cook is a running back 1 for this week. Fields should still be a starter in what we expect to be a pretty high-scoring game, even though the Bears have really struggled. I still expect that Fields is going to be a very good fantasy quarterback for us. He's going to be top 10 still. You probably don't have better options than Justin Fields at this point. Sean is still chipping away at his 12-man team question. Burrow, Richardson, Walker, ETN, Chase, Olave, Mike Williams, Kincaid, bench, Ford, Moss, Mostert, Sutton, Charbonnet. Heck, I would drop Charbonnet instead of Sutton. Sorry. I mean, maybe Charbonnet is your handcuff for there, but there we go. Okay. Brian Robinson or Joshua Kelly. You're going Brian Robinson over Joshua Kelly. Okay. Thoughts on Jerick McKinnon? He's still on waivers. I feel like he's finna turn up soon. I wish. If Pacheco misses, well, the game script just doesn't fit for Jerick McKinnon anyways. Like, the Kansas City Chiefs are expected to win by 12, 13 points in this game. So there's not really a need for Jerick McKinnon. He's not playing well in his limited snaps. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is healthy. There's just not a lot of pathways for Jerick McKinnon to be successful right now, just Dre. So sorry to say, unfortunately, Jerick McKinnon is not going to be a play for me this week. Traded Swift, Higgins, and Goddard for Kelsey. Ooh, that was really expensive. I hope you can survive it. Is Elijah Dotson lightning in a bottle? Man, we've been trying to go Jen. You and I have been trying to manifest these like third string running backs. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can. I can't. Okay, so let's take a look at. We've got a question of the defense, Chiefs or Patriots. Let me pull up my rankings here. I haven't published these parts yet. Okay. Chiefs are my number 5 defense for the week, and the New England Patriots are number 3 against the Jets. So we're going to go with the New England Patriots this week. Just Dre asked about Kendre Miller. I mean, this is week 3. Alvin Kamara is supposed to be back. Taysom Hill had 70 rushing yards last week. Jamal Williams is out. Kamara is out. It's probably going to be a lot of Taysom Hill. That's what my guess is. Kendre Miller finally going to be active. I don't think that the Saints will lean heavily on him this first game. Could we see in week 12 where Kendre Miller is the lead back? For sure. We could see Kendre Miller being the lead back in like week 12. But week 3, coming off the knee issues, not playing at all in week 1, and looking to make his debut here in week 3, I think he's more of a stash than anything. If Hopkins is active, do we bench him for Sky Moore, Sutton, or Gainwell? We do not. If Hopkins is active, he's probably going to be a flex play wide receiver 2 for you. That's how I would approach DeAndre Hopkins. Okay? Cool. Well, I think that those are all of the questions. I appreciate all y'all. We've been going for, I had to take like a 2-minute intermission here, but I appreciate all y'all coming in. This was over 80 minutes of answering your start sit questions, going through And we'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow. We might be able to do this again tomorrow. That'd be a lot of fun. And then maybe we'll see if we can get one snuck in on Sunday as well. It just depends on how soon I get my rankings done on Sunday, ready submitted, and then edited a little bit. But ultimately, this is exciting. This is a great time. We're looking forward to it, and I appreciate all you jumping in. If you're new, you like the content, subscribe, and of course, yeah, appreciate it. And go Gin. Thank you, Bradley. Feel better, recover well. Thank you, appreciate it. All right, everyone. Until next time, good luck in the fantasy football streets. Good luck with your starts and decisions.
I embrace all this risk, I'm insane. Talking about that best bill, I'm the best rest till into the next world. Guess I got next still. Best bill, I'm the best rest till into the next world. Guess I got next still.